Alright, so this is like a 500-mile review, but it's also just kind of a breakdown about every aspect of this Marlin 5, the upgrades I've done to it, what I've learned about the bike, and what I would do differently if I could go back in time and buy a bike. Most people do give me a hard time because I put a lot of money into this Marlin 5. But the way I look at it is this bike is really like a $1,300 Marlin 5, and I have an air front fork, front suspension, a one-bod drivetrain with hydraulic brakes, aluminum frame that has the, I think it's the R2, like it's like the exact same looking bike as the Pro Caliper. So it's just, you know, it's obviously cheaper. So this is like a $1,500 bike, and you won't find a bike on the market with, you know, this good of a Groupset and that good of a front fork. Well, maybe the front fork, but definitely not the Groupset. Not an NX. So yeah, let me get into details about the first upgrades I've done, and you know, start from there. The bike was, I guess, the first thing I ever bought. It was $460 for the bike, and it was the last year's model, and they just came out with that new integrated cable model. So this bike was $460. The same day I bought the bike, I had to buy the bottle cage. And I say bottle cage because the first day I bought it, I actually only had one bottle cage. And so my number 2 upgrade, which I'm going to keep in number 1, is the second bottle cage I bought like a week later. So the bottle cages were my first 2 upgrades, but really 1 bottle cages. You need 2 of them on this bike, because if you ride 2 hours, that's enough water, almost enough water for 3 hours. One last note, the good thing about the dual water bottles is you don't have to wear a camelback. After the bottle cage, I bought these new grips, because I hated the grips from the factory. Horrible grips. I got these Ourys, I think they were like $10. They don't lock on, but they're super squishy. A lot of squish to use Ourys. They say the lock-on grips are like a lot harder and like a little bit stiffer, and so I really do like these Ourys. It's kind of like a cushion on your hands, and it really was a huge game changer. And almost every upgrade to the bike was a big game changer. The water bottles is huge. I could ride longer. The grips, it made everything so much more comfortable, a little bit more cloud-like. Alright, so I wasn't going to include the saddlebag, but I guess the saddlebag is something that should be talked about. And inside the saddlebag I have a spare tire, patches, the springs to take off the tire. I have a master chain kit, I guess. I have the chain tool along with Allen wrenches, and I have the CO2 to blow up any tires. I have 2 canisters of CO2. So that's what all I have. And then I've actually had a chain break when I had the 21 speed. When I first got the bike, I had a chain break out on the trail. I was like 4 miles away, and I didn't have a master chain lock, I guess. I had to walk back 4 miles. Well, I rode down the downhills, but it was still 4 miles of no pedaling. And I learned that day to just be prepared. And then I've had a puncture in the front, so you know, be prepared. Either you're gonna need a saddlebag or keep this stuff somewhere in your pocket. And you might think when you're a new rider, like, oh, that's not going to happen to me, because I thought that, and it happened to me. So just go ahead and get you a saddlebag, get ready for it. This one has a little bit more room, so I can put my snacks in there. But yeah, I have tools, inner tube, master link, so get on it. Alright, so after the saddlebag, I guess this is my 4th upgrade. And it was these tires. I actually upgraded to the 2.4s in the front, XR3s, an aggressive tire, I guess. And one thing that I want to say is it was a huge game changer. Just like the grips, you know, it made it more air-like, like you're riding on air. Then I put the original 2.2 on the rear, and you can see it right there. See the 2.2 right there. Boom. So when this goes bald, I'm going to put a 235 on it, just because I got rid of the front derailleur with this 1x system. I think I put a 235 on the rear XR3. So that will be next. So yeah, these tires, huge game changer. If you have a Marlin 5, definitely go ahead and do all that for sure. I mean, if you're really riding, go ahead and change your grips, go change your tires. Those should be the first things you do. It'll make a huge difference. Obviously the water and the saddlebag. That really is the first thing you should do, really. The water bottles and saddlebag, #1. Then the grips, and then the tires. Alright, so the last thing I did was upgrade this whole group set, and really it was this whole drivetrain, including this rear wheel, because the original wheel, you know, it was for a 7-speed cassette in the rear, and it couldn't fit this 12-speed in the back. So I have 12 gears. It's the NX 1x12. It was $375 or so, plus labor at the shop, maybe 40 bucks or whatever it was. So that was huge because I used to hate the 21-speed 3x7 on the original Marlin 5. And this thing was a huge game changer going up hills. You know what gear you're supposed to be in. There's no question about it. You know where you're supposed to be at all times, and it's a comfortable feeling, or comforting feeling, and it just makes you so much faster. But with this whole drivetrain, you have to get a new rear wheel. So this wheel is actually different. I think it came off of I forgot what bike it came off of. The Excalibur. It came off an Excalibur. Yeah. So the Excalibur, I think, had a 1x12 or a 1x11 on it. So yeah, this is the 1x12 Excalibur wheel on the back. So the wheel is like 200 bucks. So you got the wheel, drivetrain, the crank, and then you have to replace your bottom bracket, which is this bracket right there. You can see it. It goes underneath right here. So that's why you can fit these cranks on there. So, huge game changer, massive, just like the tires, just like the front forks, which I totally forgot to talk about. Let's go back. Alright, so after the tires, I upgraded this front fork to the Rockshox Recon RLs. It's an air fork, and it was a huge difference. Massive game changer, just like the tires, just like the grips on the handlebars. Definitely upgrade the front fork. If you have a Marlin 5 and you plan on keeping it for a year or two, I think all these upgrades are reasonable. So upgrade that front fork, upgrade your grip, tires. Those are the first things you need to do. Well, obviously the bottle cage and the saddlebag, but yeah. Boom. That stuff, grips, tires, front fork, definitely the way to go. And I mean, it makes going 22 miles per hour feel like you're going 15. It just makes it feel like you're going so much slower. The roots don't kill you. It's just, when you're on the original forks, it was just like being on a pogo stick. Literally, it was a wild, bouncy ride going over roots as fast as you can. This thing will change everything. So yeah, definitely get the new these pedals. I guess, I mean, I got them on the same day as the drivetrain, but I'll talk about them. And they were a huge difference too. It's kind of hard to say how big of an impact they were, just because I upgraded the drivetrain at the same time. So it wasn't like when I got the tires, I could really tell. When I got the front fork, I could really tell. The grips, I could really tell. But one thing I can tell about these pedals is that you go with the flow. You're more connected with the bike, and I would recommend it all day long. They're like 50 or 60 bucks, but you do have to get shoes. But you can keep these pedals forever. And definitely get the platform pedals, because when you're starting on like a really steep hill or somewhere wild, you might not be able to clip in just so easily, and you have to like ride these pedals like regular pedals until you figure out your footing. So huge difference. I love it. I love this whole drivetrain. Not least, I've upgraded my whole riding attire, which started with this jersey. It was the first thing I got. It's this Bike Town jersey, and that's the shop that I buy all my stuff at. So I got the jersey. He gave it to me. I forgot what it was, but he hooked me up on the jersey. After the jersey, I got these pants, and you can see how they're sticking up kind of funny. Well, there is a, let me zoom out. Oh, I don't have a camping. There's actually a pad in here. You see that? And it makes it amazing. riding, and you're so much cooler in this stuff because this thing zips down in the front. And I unzip it halfway because staying cool, I think, is the biggest thing when it comes to riding the mountain bike. So this stuff, you know, these shorts helped out a ton because you're a lot more comfortable, you're cooler. In the jersey, you're a lot more comfortable and cooler. And then also, forgot about this, on the back of the jersey has these pockets, and that's where I keep my cell phone and my snacks and just stuff I want to grab real quick while I'm still riding. Awesome. These clips, you have to get the shoes that clip in, so you can kind of see how this clips in just like some skis. And I guess you can't really see. Well, I got the wrong shoe anyway. Yeah, they clip in like that, right there. And it's clipping in, boom. Great upgrade. So yeah, so that's pretty much everything I've done to the Marlin. The last thing I'm going to do is upgrade this seat post to a dropper post, and literally I think I'm done. There's nothing else I can do. Well, I will be putting the 235 tire on the rear, but I guess that's not really an upgrade, but at the same time it is. So the dropper post, and it is complete. So do I regret spending this much money on a Marlin 5? If I could go back in time, would I just get a different bike? I would say no, I wouldn't. Because what I've spent on this Marlin 5, the bike that's comparable isn't better than this bike. It really isn't. It doesn't have an NX. You can't get the 1x12 NX unless you're spending $2,000 at least. And these Rockshox Recon ones will come on a 2011 bike too. So if you get a Pro Cal, I think it's a 9.6, whatever the low end of, the entry level Pro Cal, you know, it has this NX system, that front fork. This bike altogether was like $1,500 or so, and it was definitely worth it. If I could go back in time, I would definitely do it again. And then I will get a credit card dedicated to the next bike. I'm going to keep this bike right here for life. But my next bike will be probably a Top Fuel full suspension, or the new Super Caliber that's coming out. It's pretty awesome. So we'll see. I'm going to keep this for a year. We'll see what's on the market.